When I opened my husband's Bible, and that folded note slipped to the floor, my whole world stopped. If she gets close to it, kill her. 7 words, written in the hand of his closest friend. That day in 1969, I stopped being the obedient wife who baked bread and smiled through migraines. That day, I became something else. Someone who listened, learned, and planned. They thought they could erase me quietly. They were wrong, because I was already writing the chapter where I refused to disappear. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I found the note on a Tuesday in June. The year was 1969. I was 29 years old. The migraine came first. Sharp. Blinding. I stumbled into Daniel's office. His pills were in the desk drawer. My hand knocked the shelf. A leather Bible fell. It hit the floor. Pages split open. Something white slid out. Folded paper. Cream-colored. I picked it up. The handwriting was neat. Victor Hale's handwriting. Daniel's friend from the bank. 7 words only, if she gets close to it. Kill her. The room went silent. My pulse was loud. I read it again. The ink was black. The paper smelled faintly of tobacco. Victor's brand. I did not cry. I did not scream. I folded the note. Put it back inside the Bible. The Bible went back on the shelf. Everything looked untouched. I swallowed a pill. No water. My throat was dry. Downstairs, the kitchen waited. Dinner needed making. The children would be home soon. Jonah was 7. Claire was 5. Daniel would walk through the door at 6. He always did. He was regional supervisor at Piedmont Secure Courier. Armored trucks. Payroll runs. People waved when they saw him. Respected him. Our house sat on a quiet street. The porch paint was new. We looked perfect from the sidewalk. A family in order. That morning I had baked rolls for church. Braided Claire's hair. Kissed my husband goodbye at the door. Now I stood in his office. Holding a secret. If she gets close. Close to what? Finish her. A command. Not a warning. I walked to the kitchen. My legs felt wooden. The countertop was cool under my palms. I pressed down. Outside, a neighbor mowed his lawn. The sound was ordinary. A car passed. Children laughed somewhere down the block. The world had not stopped. Only mine had. I began peeling potatoes. The knife was sharp. My hands moved automatically. Peel. Rinse. Cut. The migraine faded. Clarity took its place. I thought about the Bible. Family heirloom. Passed down. Daniel kept it on display. Respectability in leather binding. Victor visited often. Late nights sometimes. Their voices low. Daniel traveled every month. First Thursday. Always overnight. He called them audits. Courier security checks. I had never questioned it. Wives didn't. The front door opened. Jonah ran in first. His knees were grass-stained. His smile was wide. Claire followed. She held a dandelion bouquet. Wilted but precious. I hugged them both. Their hair smelled like sunshine. They chattered about their day. I listened. My voice sounded normal. Warm. Present. Inside, I was cataloging. Watching. Remembering. Daniel came home at 6:15. 15 minutes late. He kissed my cheek. His cologne was expensive. New cologne. I had not bought it. We ate dinner. Pot roast. Green beans. Biscuits. Jonah told a joke. Claire spilled her milk. Daniel laughed. He looked relaxed. Happy even. I watched his hands. Wedding ring still there. But his cufflinks were new. Silver. Monogrammed. Not his initials. Not ours. After dinner, he went to his office. Papers to review. I washed dishes. The water was hot. Steam rose. The window fogged. Through the glass, I could see our reflection. A wife. A kitchen. A life I thought I understood. The children went to bed. I read them stories. Kissed their foreheads. Turned off their lights. Then I went back downstairs. Daniel was still working. I stood in the hallway. Listened. He was on the phone. Voice low. Careful. I could not hear the words. Only the tone. It was not his work voice. Something softer. Private. The call ended. He came out smiling. He asked if I wanted tea. I said yes. We sat together in the living room. The television played. Some program about the moon landing coming next month. History happening. The future arriving. Daniel held my hand. His thumb traced circles. I smiled at him. Let him see contentment. Inside, I was someone else now. Someone learning. The note had changed something. Flipped a switch. I was no longer the wife who baked and braided. I was the wife who would survive. That night, I lay awake. Daniel slept beside me. His breathing was steady, deep. I stared at the ceiling. Made plans in the dark. Questions first. What was it I might discover? Why would Victor write such a thing? Who was she? Or was she me? The migraine was gone. My mind was sharp. I would need proof. Evidence. A way out. Money of my own. Documents. Somewhere safe. The children would come with me. That was not negotiable. But I would need time. Patience. A performance. The quiet wife. The trusting wife. The wife who sees nothing while she learns everything. Morning came. Light through the curtains. Birds outside. I rose before Daniel. Made coffee. Started breakfast. The kitchen smelled like bacon. Normalcy in a skillet. He came down in his suit. Kissed the children. Told me he loved me. I said it back. The words felt like costume jewelry. Pretty but hollow. He left for work. The door closed behind him. I stood at the window. Watched his car disappear. Then I went upstairs. Back to his office. The Bible was exactly where I left it. I opened it carefully. Found the note again. This time I studied it. The paper. The fold. The date was not written. But the ink looked recent. Victor's handwriting was distinctive, looped and precise. I memorized every curve, every letter. Then I put it back. Closed the book. Left everything untouched. Like a crime scene in reverse. Downstairs, Claire was drawing. Jonah was reading. Summer stretched ahead. Weeks of routine. But I was different now. I had seen the blueprint. The threat was not vague anymore. It had a shape. And I would trace its edges until I understood. Then I would dismantle it. Piece by careful piece. The children laughed. I smiled at them. My heart was a fist. My mind was a map. The note said finish her. But I had other plans. I would finish this myself. On my own terms. The game had started. I was playing now. And I intended to win. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The evidence came in pieces. Small things first. A receipt in a jacket pocket. Crumpled. Forgotten. I found it on laundry day. Thursday morning. Richmond Jewelers. A solitaire ring. $1,400. 3 months of our household budget. Gone. The date was April. 2 months before the note. I smoothed the paper flat. Memorized the details. Then I folded it back. Returned it to the pocket. The washing machine hummed. Water filled the drum. My hands were steady. My breathing was controlled. Daniel had bought a ring. Not for me. The math was simple. The conclusion clear. I needed more. One receipt proved nothing in court. Quartz. The word surfaced like a stone in water. I had not thought that far yet. But now I did. Friday evening, Daniel went out. Meeting Victor for dinner. Their usual routine. Steaks and business talk. I waited 30 minutes. Then searched his office. The desk drawers first. Bills. Manifests. Courier schedules. Nothing unusual. Everything organized. Professional. The closet next. His travel bag sat on the shelf. I pulled it down. Unzipped each compartment. A business card fell out. White. Embossed lettering. No name. Just an address. Magnolia Street. A nicer neighborhood. Across town near the university. I put the card in my apron pocket. The bag went back exactly as before. Saturday morning I told Daniel I needed fabric. New curtains. He nodded. Barely listening. Reading the newspaper. I drove across town. Found Magnolia Street easily. Brick apartments. Well kept. Trees lining the sidewalk. I parked 3 houses down. Watched. A woman came out watering begonias. Gray hair. Kind face. I got out. Walked over. Admired her flowers. She smiled. We talked about summer heat. Garden pests. I mentioned looking for fabric shops nearby. Any recommendations? She listed 2. Then added something unexpected. A young woman lived upstairs. Lila Monroe. A librarian. Such a sweet girl. Expecting a baby. Due in August. Her fiancé visited Thursdays. Worked out of town. The neighbor said it with sympathy. Young love. Hard circumstances. I thanked her. Got back in my car. My hands gripped the wheel. Knuckles white. Thursday visits. Daniel's audit nights. The pattern matched. A librarian named Lila. Pregnant. Waiting for her man. The begonias nodded in the breeze. Innocent. Bright. I drove home. Cooked dinner. Set the table. Daniel came in whistling. He kissed my cheek. Asked about my day. I mentioned fabric. New patterns. He smiled. Said that sounded nice. Whatever I wanted. The lie sat between us like a third plate. I passed him potatoes. He talked about work. A big factory deposit coming. End of summer. Major shipment. Security would be tight. Extra protocols. Victor coordinating everything. The bank was expanding. New vault. Modern systems. It was important work. Daniel said it with pride. I listened carefully. Remembered every detail. Monday morning I went to the library. Research. Innocuous. The building smelled like old paper. Floor polish. I asked the desk clerk about gardening books. Second floor. She pointed me upstairs. Then returned to stamping cards. I browsed the shelves. Watched the staff. A young woman emerged from the back office. Early 20s. Dark hair pulled back. Pretty. Visibly pregnant. Her name tag read Lila. She smiled at patrons. Her left hand had no ring. But hope in her eyes. I checked out a book. She processed it efficiently. Her handwriting was neat. Careful. Educated. I thanked her. She wished me a nice day. Outside, the sun was brutal. Heat rose from pavement. I sat in my car. Hands shaking now. She was real. Young. Carrying my husband's child. The steering wheel was hot. I did not care. Numbers ran through my head. Dates. Money. Time. Baby due August. Ring bought April. Address card. Thursday nights. Daniel was building a second life. Complete. Separate. And I was the obstacle. The wife who knew too much. If she gets close to it. Finish her. The note made sense now. Terrible sense. Close to what? The theft. The plan. The escape. Daniel and Victor were planning something. Something big. That factory deposit. The timing. The new vault. They were going to steal it. Then disappear. With Lila. With the money. With a new identity. I drove home slowly. Mind working. Calculating. The house was empty. Children at summer camp. I went to Daniel's office. Searched more carefully now. The bookshelf held financial guides. Investment books. Boring titles. One felt wrong. Too light. Hollowed out. I pulled it down. How to manage your money. The pages were carved out. A hiding space inside. A small brass key lay nested there. I held it up. Studied it. Daniel had mentioned a key once. Old vault junk. Meaningless. A joke between him and Victor. But he had kept it. Hidden it. Protected it. I searched for what it opened. The desk. The drawers. Nothing. The closet again. Behind the travel bags. A metal cash box. Locked. Gray. Heavy duty. The brass key fit perfectly. The lock clicked open. Inside were papers. Documents. Identification cards. 2 passports. False names. David Hale. Lila Moran. Airline tickets. Buenos Aires. Departing September 10th. One-way flights. No return date. No children listed. Love letters too. Daniel's handwriting. Promises to Lila. Soon we will be free. A new life. No more hiding. After the transfer we disappear. They will never find us. I read every word. My face was numb. The children were not mentioned. Not once. I was not mentioned. Except as the problem. Victor's letters were there too. Logistics. Timing. Contingencies. The factory deposit arrives September 8th. Thursday morning. Courier route is confirmed. Minimal witnesses. Perfect window. Daniel signs off. Victor processes. Money vanishes. They follow. It was all planned. Precise. Coldly efficient. I took nothing. Changed nothing. Locked everything back. The key returned to its book. The book to the shelf. I walked downstairs. Made tea. Sat at the table. The kitchen was quiet. Sunlight through the window. A fly buzzed against glass. Trapped. Frantic. I let it out. Watched it escape. Envied it. That night Daniel came home cheerful. Relaxed. He played with the children. Tickled Claire until she shrieked. Helped Jonah with a model airplane. Patient. Kind. He was a good father. That made it worse. We ate dinner. He complimented my cooking. Asked for seconds. I smiled. Served him. Played my part. Later, in bed, he held my hand. Said he loved me. I said it back. The words were ash. He fell asleep quickly. Trusting. Comfortable. I stared into darkness. Made my own plans. September 10th was 11 weeks away. Enough time. I needed money. My own account. Somewhere he could not touch. I needed copies. Evidence. Proof for authorities. I needed an ally. Someone who would listen. Agent Morales. The state investigator Daniel complained about. A Boy Scout with a badge. Daniel's words. Mocking. Boy Scouts helped people. I would need help. But first, money. Independence. A way to run. The sewing I did for church ladies paid little. Pin money. Grocery money. Never serious. Never mine. That would change. I would make it change. I would sew faster. Charge more. Save everything. A widow in my sewing circle had connections. Resources. I would ask her help. Discreetly. Woman to woman. The children would need documents. Birth certificates. School records. I would gather them, hide them, prepare. Daniel slept beside me, his breathing deep, peaceful. He dreamed of Argentina, freedom, a fresh start. I dreamed of survival, justice, a future. The note had been a gift, a warning, a catalyst. Without it I would have trusted until September. Then vanished. Not dead perhaps, but erased, divorced, replaced. Now I was awake, eyes open, mind sharp. The game was not over. It had just begun, and I would play to win. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Money came first. Everything else depended on it. Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore was my wealthiest client. A widow. She ordered 3 dresses that summer. Silk. Detailed work. I finished the first in 5 days. Usually took 2 weeks. She noticed. Commented on my speed, my precision. I told her I needed the work. Times were uncertain. She studied me. Her eyes were sharp, knowing. The next week she asked me to ride along. Errands. Her driver took us 2 towns over. Banking business. On the drive back she mentioned something casually. A woman should have her own account. Her own security. She could introduce me, if I ever wanted. No questions asked. I said yes. The word came out steady. The following Tuesday she picked me up. Same driver. Same bank. I wore my church dress. Carried my sewing money. $200. The bank was large. Marble floors. High ceilings. Cold. The manager shook my hand. Asked simple questions. Smiled professionally. The account opened in 15 minutes. Evelyn Hart. Sole owner. I deposited $150. Kept $50 for household. The passbook was small, brown. My name stamped inside. It felt like oxygen, like a door unlocking. Outside, Mrs. Whitmore squeezed my hand. Asked nothing. Some women understood. Survival was a language we shared. Evidence came next. Harder, riskier, necessary. I needed copies of everything. The letters, the tickets, the manifests. The stationer on 5th Street had equipment. Mr. Chen. Quiet. Reliable. I brought him a dress pattern. Asked to copy it. Test. He used his machine without questions. Charged a quarter. 2 days later I returned before dawn. Daniel left early. Audit trip. The cash box contents were in my purse. Hidden. Wrapped carefully. I copied everything. Passports. Tickets. Letters. Victor's plans. 18 pages total. $4.50. He never asked why. The copies went into a manila envelope. Sealed. Hidden. Behind the loose board in the children's closet. Under winter blankets. I needed photographs too. The courier schedules. His ledger. Mrs. Whitmore's daughter loaned me her Kodak. Palm-sized. For travel. Early mornings became my time. Daniel left at 7. Children slept late. I photographed his desk, his calendar, his route maps, the manifests showing deposit dates, security protocols, Victor's signatures. Each click of the shutter felt like building a ladder. Rung by rung. The film went to the drugstore. Regular processing. Nothing suspicious. Everything was documented now. Dated. Detailed. Irrefutable. I needed one more thing. An ally. Someone with authority. Agent Rafael Morales. State investigator. Daniel mentioned him often. Always with irritation. Always with contempt. Boy Scout. Nuisance. That meant Morales was honest. Thorough. Not easily bought. The bank secretary helped me. Irena. New hire. Widow. Careful. Over coffee after church I mentioned feeling unsafe. Hypothetically, she leaned closer, said Morales was coming for an audit. Late August. He stayed at the Wayfair Inn. Always the same room. Routine. She said this quietly, then changed the subject. But her eyes stayed serious. The packet took 3 evenings to assemble. Kitchen table. Midnight. Copies. Photographs. A typed letter. No emotion. Just facts. I listed dates. Amounts. Names. Connections. The September 8th deposit. I explained the false passports. The airline tickets. The hidden cash box. The letter ended with a single line. I fear for my safety. I did not sign it. Anonymous was safer. For now. The innkeeper at the Wayfair was a woman. Mrs. Dorsey. 50s. Efficient. I went during lunch hour. Said I was leaving business papers. For Agent Morales, the investigator, when he arrived in August. She took it without questions. Said she would place it in his room. I walked out. Sunlight hit my face. My hands were steady. At home I packed a small suitcase. Hidden. Just in case. Birth certificates for Jonah and Claire. Vaccination records. School transcripts. My passbook. The envelope of copies. $50 cash. Needle and thread. Because I could always sew. Anywhere. Anytime. The suitcase went under my bed. Behind shoeboxes. Ready. August moved slowly. Heat pressed down. Humidity made everything heavy. Daniel was busier. Meetings with Victor. Late nights at the office. He came home distracted, short-tempered, then overly cheerful. The mood swings were new. Stress, guilt, anticipation. He took Jonah fishing one Saturday. Father-son time. Unusual. He bought Claire an expensive doll. From Richmond. Guilt gift. He told me I looked beautiful. Said we should take a vacation. After September. Somewhere nice. Maybe the coast. A second honeymoon. I smiled. Said that sounded wonderful. I was a good actress now. Victor came by twice. They talked in the office. Doors closed. I brought them coffee. They went silent when I entered. Victor's face was pale. Nervous. He barely met my eyes. Daniel was confident. Controlled. The leader. The orchestrator. September arrived cool and clear. Autumn coming early. Relief from heat. The factory deposit was scheduled for Thursday. September 8th. Daniel marked it on the calendar. Red pen. Circled twice. Big day. He said it with false casualness. Routine audit. Extra protocols. I nodded. Said I would make pot roast. His favorite. Comfort food. He kissed my forehead. Said I was a good wife. The words felt like coins on a dead man's eyes. Wednesday night I barely slept. Daniel snored. Peaceful. Confident. I lay awake, listening to the house settle. The clock tick. Morning would bring sirens. Arrests. The end of everything. Or it would bring nothing. And I would need another plan. Either way, I was ready. The suitcase was packed. The children safe. Mrs. Whitmore knew to expect a call. A code word. Roses. The clock read 4 a.m. Birds started singing. Dawn came slowly. Daniel woke at 5:30. Showered. Dressed carefully. His best suit. He kissed the children longer than usual. Lingered in their doorways. He kissed me at the door. Said he loved me. See you tonight. I said it back. Watched him drive away. His car disappeared. The morning stretched long. I made breakfast. Cleaned. Waited. The children played outside. Their laughter sounded distant. Innocent. At 11 the phone rang. Irena. Her voice was shaking. Police at the bank. State investigators. Victor in handcuffs. Pale. Silent. Daniel arrived 20 minutes later. More handcuffs. More silence. Agent Morales led them both out. Professional. Efficient. Thorough. The Boy Scout had done his job. Believed an anonymous housewife. Sirens wailed through town. Everyone would know by dinner. I hung up. Sat down. My hands were shaking now. It was over. The theft stopped. The plan destroyed. Justice served. But my life was over too. In a different way. The wife of a criminal. The headline. The gossip. I called Mrs. Whitmore. Said I needed those roses. Now. She understood. Her driver arrived within the hour. I packed the children. Told them an adventure. Aunt Margaret's house. They were excited. Confused. Too young to understand. We left the house with the porch light burning. Like a beacon. I did not look back. That woman was gone. Someone new was driving away. Toward an uncertain future. But she was driving. And she was alive. That was enough. For now. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The capital was 200 miles away. Far enough to breathe. My friend Louise ran an alterations shop there. We had trained together years ago. She offered me a room behind her workroom. Modest. Clean. Safe. The children adjusted slowly. New schools. New faces. Strange streets. Jonah found the library within a week. Books became his refuge. Claire cried at night. Quietly. Into her pillow. She missed her room. I held her. Said nothing. What could I say? The truth was too heavy. The shop smelled like steam and sizing. Familiar. Almost comforting. Louise gave me a corner table. A lamp. A basket of mending. She paid me in cash. Weekly. No questions about my past. The first month I earned $60. The second, $85. My fingers worked constantly. Hems. Buttonholes. Invisible zippers. The rhythm was mechanical. Soothing. My mind could go quiet. Customers came and went. They complained about fit. About fabric. About husbands. I listened. Nodded. Fixed their problems with needle and thread. Nobody asked about me. I was the quiet seamstress. Background. Anonymous. The newspapers ran the story for 3 weeks. Courier heist case. Daniel's photograph appeared twice. Victor's once. My face beside them. Wife provided evidence. Anonymous tip led to arrests. That headline stung. People recognized me sometimes. In the grocery store. At the bank. Their eyes would flicker. Recognition. Then judgment. Then pity. I learned to hold my head up. Meet their stares. Outlast their curiosity. Daniel pled guilty in October. Reduced sentence. Cooperation with prosecutors. Victor got 7 years. Daniel got 5. The papers called it justice. I called it arithmetic. Numbers on a page. Time measured in years. The children did not understand. I told them their father made mistakes. Big mistakes. Grown-up mistakes. Now he had to fix them. Jonah asked if we could visit. I said yes. Eventually. When he was ready. Claire asked if Daddy still loved us. I said yes. That part was true. Love and betrayal were not opposites. I learned that the hard way. Winter came cold. The shop had poor heating. We wore layers. Worked fast. I saved every dollar I could. My account grew slowly but steadily. By December I had $300 saved. Not much. But mine. I learned bookkeeping from Louise. Income. Expenses. Profit margins. Simple math. Numbers made sense. They were honest. They did not lie or cheat. January brought a harsh cold snap. Pipes froze. Schools closed for a week. The children stayed in the back room, coloring, reading, getting underfoot. Louise never complained. She gave them cocoa, let them play with fabric scraps. Claire made doll clothes. Jonah built structures from cardboard. They coped. A wealthy client came in February. Mrs. Adelaide Chen, lawyer's wife. She needed alterations on 6 dresses. Expensive pieces. Imported silk. I worked carefully, precisely, made each one fit like custom couture. She returned 2 weeks later. Delighted, she told her friends. More clients came. Referrals. Word of mouth. The quiet seamstress who worked miracles. By March I had a waiting list. 2 weeks out. Then 3. Louise suggested raising my prices. I hesitated, then agreed. The work was worth more. I was worth more. Time to believe it. April brought warm rain. The city smelled like wet pavement. Blooming trees. Jonah turned 8. We had cake in the back room. Small celebration. He asked if his father remembered his birthday. I said yes. Absolutely yes. I had written Daniel once. Told him where we were. How to reach us. He wrote back. Short letter. Full of apologies. Regrets. Promises to change. I did not respond. The children could write him. I could not. Not yet. Claire started drawing fashion sketches. She had my eye for line. For proportion. I gave her my old pattern books. She studied them like textbooks. She was 7 years old. Already seeing the world through fabric and form. Time moved differently in the capital. Faster. Busier. More anonymous. I liked the pace. The noise. The way strangers did not care who you were. By summer I had saved $500. Louise suggested expanding. Maybe a small shop of our own. Partners. Equal split. Real business. I said no. Not yet. I was not ready. The fear was still too close. Louise understood. She said the offer stood. Whenever I was ready. September brought new routines. 2nd year in the capital. Easier than the first. The children had friends now. Lunch tables. After-school activities. They were adapting. I took them to visit Daniel in October. First time in over a year. The prison was gray. Institutional. The smell of disinfectant and despair. Daniel looked smaller. Thinner. His hair was graying at the temples. He hugged the children. His eyes filled. He said he was sorry. So sorry. Jonah was polite. Distant. He answered questions but offered nothing extra. Claire cried. Asked when he was coming home. He said soon. A lie. But kind. I stayed silent. Watched. My heart was a stone. Heavy. Necessary. Winter came again. The shop stayed busy. Louise and I hired part-time help. I taught the new girl to press seams. To measure properly. To respect fabric. The new year arrived. 1971. Fresh start. Clean calendar. I allowed myself to think about the future. Not just survival. Actual future. What did I want? A shop of my own. My name on the door. Security for the children. Education. Opportunities. Choices I never had. By spring I had $700 saved. Louise renewed her partnership offer. This time I said maybe. Let me think. Let me plan. Let me be sure. I spent March drafting numbers. Costs. Rent. Supplies. Insurance. Licenses. The math was tight. Possible but fragile. One mistake could break us. In April a small storefront became available. 2 blocks from Louise's shop. Cheap rent. decent light, needed work but had good bones. Louise and I walked through it together. She saw potential, I saw risk, but I also saw mine. My space, my chance, my future. We signed the lease in May. 6-month trial, modest investment, shared risk. The work began immediately. Painting, repairs, building tables, installing lights. The children helped after school. Jonah organized supplies. Claire painted signs. By June we were ready. Almost. The fear came back. Thick. Choking. What if nobody came? What if I failed? What if we lost everything? Louise said fear was information. Listen to it. Then act anyway. We opened on a Tuesday. No fanfare. Just a sign. Hart Alterations. My name. My work. My life. 3 customers came that first day. Small jobs. Simple repairs. But they came. And they paid. And they said they would return. That night I sat in the empty shop. Alone. Quiet. Grateful. The past year had been brutal. Exhausting. Transforming. I had lost a husband. A home. A life I thought I wanted. But I had found something better. Myself. My strength. My spine. Tomorrow would bring more work. More challenges. More unknowns. But tonight I had this. A locked door. A clean space. My name outside. That was enough. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The knock came on a Wednesday in October. Rain thick. Afternoon gray. I was pinning a hem when the shop door opened. No bell chime. A young woman stood there. Wet hair plastered to her face. Shivering. She held a baby wrapped in a damp blanket. Sleeping. Maybe 6 months old. Her coat was thin. Wrong for the weather. Her shoes were soaked through. I recognized her immediately. Lila Monroe. Daniel's mistress. The librarian. 2 years had passed since the arrests. Since everything ended. Began. She looked different now. Thinner. Older. The pregnancy glow was gone. Her eyes found mine. Fear flickered there. Then something harder. Determination. She said she needed work. Not charity. Not pity. Just work. Her voice was steady despite the shaking. Practiced. Rehearsed perhaps. I should have closed the door. Turned her away. Protected my peace. But the baby's lashes were shaped like Jonah's. That same curve. Unmistakable. The child was Daniel's son. My children's half-brother. Blood. Complicated blood. I looked at Lila. She looked back. Neither of us blinked. The rain drummed harder against the windows. The shop felt small suddenly. I told her to come inside. Dry off. We would talk. She stepped in carefully. Like the floor might collapse. Like I might change my mind. I brought towels. Made tea. The baby stirred but did not wake. Lila sat at my work table. Her hands wrapped around the cup. Still shaking. She told me Daniel had abandoned her. Stopped writing 6 months ago. His family sent money once. Then nothing. The library let her go. Pregnant. Unmarried. She had been cleaning houses. Night shifts at a diner. Barely surviving. Someone mentioned my shop. Hart Alterations. She recognized the name. Came here. She did not apologize. Did not cry. Just stated facts. Plain. Direct. I respected that. Tears would have been easier to dismiss. Facts demanded consideration. The baby woke. Made soft sounds. She rocked him automatically. Practiced motion. His eyes were dark. His hair fine and dark. He looked like Jonah. Like Claire. Like all the Hart children. Unmistakable genetics. Undeniable connection. I asked what she could do, what skills she had, what use she could be. She said she kept good books, organized systems, managed details, library training. She could answer phones, track orders, handle customers, learn whatever else I needed. Her tone was businesslike, desperate but not begging, offering trade, fair exchange. I thought about saying no, about protecting myself, my children, my hard-won peace. But I thought about the note too. Finish her. The threat. The erasure. Daniel had tried to erase both of us. Different methods. Same intention. We were supposed to disappear. Make way for his better life. His fresh start. Instead, we were both here. Still breathing. Still fighting. Still refusing erasure. The rain slowed. Light shifted through the window. Pale, watery, gray. I told her she could start tomorrow. Part-time, ledger work, front desk. She could bring the baby. I had a cot in the back room. Quiet space. The pay was modest. $20 a week. Room to grow if she proved useful. She nodded, said thank you. Her voice cracked slightly. Just once. Then steadied. I showed her the back room. Small, clean, a cot, a changing table. Basic. She set the baby down gently. He yawned, stretched, went back to sleep. Lila looked around. Her shoulders dropped slightly. Relief. Shelter. Safety. She asked what to call me. Mrs. Hart seemed wrong. Evelyn felt too familiar. I said Evie was fine. Keep it simple. Keep it professional. Keep it clear. She left before dark. Said she would return at 8. Ready to work. I watched her walk away. The rain had stopped. Puddles reflected streetlights. That night I told the children nothing. Not yet. Too complicated. Too raw. But I thought about it. Turned it over. Examined it from every angle. This woman had believed Daniel's lies. Trusted his promises. Loved him perhaps. She had carried his child. Been abandoned. Left alone. Punished for believing. We were not enemies. We were survivors of the same man. Same wreckage. The shop could use help. That part was true. Business was growing. Orders multiplying. And the baby. Peter. She had named him Peter. He was innocent. Blameless. He was also Jonah and Claire's brother. Family. However strange. However broken. Morning came cold and clear. Lila arrived at 7:55. Early. Prepared. She wore a clean dress. Her hair was neat. The baby was quiet. Fed. Content. I showed her the ledgers. Income columns. Expense tracking. Client files. Simple systems. She learned quickly. Asked good questions. Made notes. Her handwriting was precise. Elegant. By noon she had reorganized the filing system. Alphabetical. Color-coded. Efficient. Customers liked her. She was polite. Professional. Remembered names. Made them comfortable. The baby slept in the back room. She checked on him between tasks. Quick. Quiet. By the end of the week I increased her hours. 30 hours. $30. She protested. Said that was too much. I said it was exactly right. Good work deserved fair pay. That was business. That was dignity. That was survival. November brought early cold. The shop stayed busy. Holiday orders. Party dresses. Winter coats. Lila managed the front. I managed the sewing. We developed rhythms. Unspoken systems. She never mentioned Daniel. Never asked about my children. Never crossed lines. I appreciated the boundaries. The professionalism. The careful distance we maintained. But sometimes I watched her with the baby. The tenderness. The exhaustion. The love. She was so young. 23 maybe. 24. Still learning. Still hoping. I was 31. Already ancient in some ways. Already done with hoping. December came. The children noticed Lila. Asked questions. Who was she? Why the baby? I said she was an employee. A good worker. The baby's name was Peter. Jonah asked if Peter was related to us. His eyes were too knowing. Too sharp. I said families were complicated. Sometimes people shared connections. Unexpected connections. He accepted that. Nodded. Went back to his homework. Claire was less satisfied. She wanted to hold the baby. Asked permission. Lila said yes. Carefully. Watching me. Claire was gentle. Natural. She sang softly. Peter smiled at her. Reached for her hair. Something shifted then. In the air. In the room. In the shape of our strange household. This was not normal. Not conventional. Not anything I had ever imagined. But it was what we had. What we were building. Brick by strange brick. Christmas came quietly. We worked through most of it. Last-minute alterations. Desperate clients. I bought small gifts for the children. Practical things. Books. Pencils. Warm socks. Lila made cookies. Brought them to the shop. Simple sugar cookies. Decorated carefully. The children ate them. Thanked her. Jonah even smiled. Just slightly. Just once. On New Year's Eve we closed early. Lila stayed to help clean up. The shop was quiet. Peaceful. The year ending. Another beginning ahead. She thanked me then. Said she did not understand why I had helped her. But she was grateful. She would work hard. Prove herself. Earn her place. I told her she already had. Earned it. Proved it. Made herself necessary. This shop was becoming something neither of us planned. Something bigger than revenge. Than survival. It was becoming a place where women rebuilt. Where broken things became useful. Where nothing was wasted. The new year arrived. 1972. Cold and clear and full of work. Lila moved into a small apartment nearby. 2 rooms. Clean. Affordable. Hers. She brought Peter to work every day. He grew. Started crawling. Made messes. Laughed. The children accepted him gradually. Played with him sometimes. Ignored him others. Normal. Gossip tried to stick to us. Whispers at church. Sideways glances. Raised eyebrows. The wife and the mistress. Working together. Raising children. Unnatural. Scandalous. Wrong. I ignored it. Lila ignored it. We had work to do. Bills to pay. Lives to build. By spring the shop was thriving. We hired another seamstress. Part-time. To keep up. Lila suggested a name change. Hart alterations felt incomplete. Singular. Temporary. She proposed Hart and Monroe. Partners. Equal. Visible. Honest. I hesitated. That felt permanent. Committed. Vulnerable. Public. But it also felt right. True. Earned. Deserved. We filed the paperwork in April. Hung the new sign in May. Hart and Monroe. 2 names. 2 women. 1 impossible partnership. People stared at the sign. Talked about it. Tried to understand it. We did not explain. Did not justify. Just worked. Just survived. Just thrived. The past was not forgiven. Not forgotten. Not erased or rewritten or made pretty. But it was becoming something else. Something useful. Something that carried us forward. 2 women. 3 children. 1 shop. 1 chance. 1 strange, stubborn family. Built not from love, but from refusal. Refusal to disappear. To fail. To break. That was enough. More than enough. It was everything. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Years stacked differently when you were busy. Time folded, compressed, expanded. 1973 arrived without ceremony. Just another Monday. More orders, more work. The shop had outgrown its space. Fabric bolts crowded the aisles. Supplies overflowed shelves. Lila showed me the numbers. We were turning away clients. Losing potential income. She suggested moving. Larger location. Better street. More visibility. Higher rent. The idea terrified me. What if we failed? What if we lost everything? But staying small was failing too. Slowly, safely, but still failing. We found a space on Merchant Street. Corner lot. Big windows. Good light. The rent was double. The risk was enormous. The opportunity was undeniable. We signed the lease in March. Moved in April. Opened in May. Hart and Monroe. Bigger sign. Bolder letters. Impossible to miss. The new shop had room for 3 sewing stations. Proper fitting rooms. Display space. We hired 2 more seamstresses. Both skilled. Both reliable. Both needed work. Claire spent afternoons sketching at the design table. Her drawings improved constantly. She was 11 now, already seeing lines I could not see. Shapes I could not imagine. Clients started requesting her designs. Simple things first. A collar, a sleeve, a hem, then whole dresses. Her silhouettes, her vision, my execution. Perfect collaboration. Jonah worked the register Saturdays. He was 13, serious, precise with money. He tracked inventory, noticed patterns, suggested bulk orders, saved us money. Peter toddled between the fabric bolts. 3 years old, curious, always underfoot. He called me Aunt Evie, called Lila Mama, called Jonah and Claire his family. The truth was complicated. The love was simple. Children made it work. Summer brought heat. The shop had ceiling fans. They churned air, created breeze. Business was steady, growing. We added ready-to-wear pieces. Simple designs, well-made, blouses, skirts, day dresses. Nothing fancy, but quality, affordable, accessible. Women came for alterations, stayed for the ready-made. Told their friends. By fall we had a mailing list. 200 names. Regular customers. Loyal base. Lila managed everything. Orders. Schedules. Payroll. Inventory. She was ruthlessly efficient. I focused on design. Quality control. Training. The creative work. The craft. We complemented each other. Her mind. My hands. Her numbers. My vision. The partnership was working. Against all odds. Against all logic. Thriving. Daniel was released in November. Good behavior. Early parole. 4 years served. He called before coming. Asked permission. Unusual for him. Maybe prison taught humility. He wanted to see the children. Jonah and Claire. And Peter. His son. His 3rd child. I said the choice belonged to them. Jonah and Claire were old enough. 13 and 11. They could decide. I would not force them. Would not prevent them. Would not interfere. Jonah said no immediately. He had nothing to say. Nothing to ask. Nothing to forgive. Claire said maybe. She wanted answers. Wanted to understand. Wanted closure perhaps. They met at a diner. Neutral ground. Public. Safe. She took a friend. Just in case. She came back 2 hours later. Calm. Quiet. Thoughtful. Changed somehow. She said her father was small. Not physically. but smaller than her anger. Her grief. Hating him had made him enormous. Seeing him made him human. Flawed. Finished. She did not need to forgive him. But she did not need to carry him either. The weight lifted. I watched it happen. Her shoulders straightened. Her jaw relaxed. Free. Jonah never wavered. Never asked about the meeting. Never mentioned his father again. Some wounds healed by closing. Some healed by letting go. Both ways were valid. Daniel asked to see Peter. Lila agreed. Terms only. 1 hour. Public park. Supervised. I went with her. Sat on a bench. Watched from distance. Close enough. Just in case. Daniel looked older. Thinner. His suit was cheap. His shoes worn. Prison aged him. Peter was shy. Hid behind Lila's legs. Peeked out occasionally. Curious. Cautious. Daniel tried to play. Pushed the swing. Offered a ball. Peter took it. Tentatively. The boy looked like him. Undeniably. Same jaw. Same eyes. Genetics were honest. Brutal. After an hour Daniel said goodbye. Told Peter he was sorry. Too young to understand. He told Lila she had done well. Raised a good boy. She said nothing. Just nodded. He looked at me across the playground. Our eyes met. Held. Something passed between us. Not forgiveness. Not friendship. Just acknowledgement. We had both survived. Differently. Separately. Completely. He walked away. Got smaller. Disappeared around the corner. Out of our lives. Mostly. Lila cried in the car. Quiet tears. Not sadness. Release. The story ending. Finally. I drove. Said nothing. Sometimes silence was the only kindness. The best gift. 1974 brought expansion. We added a small bridal section. Custom gowns. Special orders. Weddings meant money. Meant referrals. Meant mothers and daughters and bridesmaids. Whole networks. Claire's designs were requested specifically now. Brides brought her sketches. Pointed. This one. Hers. She was 12. Still in school. But already building reputation. Building future. Building name. I taught her construction. How designs became real. How vision became fabric. How dreams became wearable. She learned fast. Challenged me. Pushed boundaries. Made me better. Sharper. More current. Lila handled consultations. She had a gift. Listening. Understanding. Translating wants into realistic plans. Women trusted her. Told her their budgets. Their fears. Their secret wishes. She honored all of it. The business grew. We hired 4 seamstresses now. Steady work. Full time. Benefits. Real jobs. We paid fairly. Offered flexibility. Respected their skills. Treated them like professionals. They stayed. Staff loyalty meant consistency. Quality. Reputation. Customers noticed. Returned. Recommended. By summer we were booked 3 months out. Bridal gowns. 6 months. The demand was astonishing. A women's magazine found us. Photographed a dress. Called it effortlessly luminous. We framed the article. The phone rang constantly. New customers. New orders. New opportunities. New challenges. New possibilities. We printed sturdy tags. Hart and Monroe. Small stitched heart. Our symbol. Our signature. Our promise. Peter started kindergarten. Jonah entered high school. Claire started design classes. Proper training. Real instruction. The children were growing. Thriving. They had survived everything. Became stronger. Became themselves. Victor appeared in November. 3 years since release. Gaunt. Gray. apologetic, haunted. He came to the shop, asked to speak with me. Privately. Please. Just 5 minutes. Lila saw him first. Her face went white. She asked if I wanted her to call someone. I said no. I was not afraid anymore. Not of Victor. Not of the past. Not of anything. We sat in the back office. Door open. Lila nearby. Just in case. Always in case. Victor apologized. The note. The plan. The threat. Everything. He had been weak. Afraid. Wrong. He said my evidence had saved the town. The factory expansion. Jobs. Pensions. Livelihoods. People did not know. Could not know. But he knew. It mattered. I mattered. He was sorry. I listened. Said nothing at first. Studied his face. The remorse seemed real. Deep. Permanent. Regret could be authentic. Damage could still remain. Both things were true. Simultaneously. Always. I told him I appreciated the apology. But I did not need it. I had moved forward. He asked if I could forgive him. I said forgiveness was not mine to give. He had to forgive himself. Live differently. Choose better. Every day. For the rest of his life. He nodded. Stood. Thanked me. His hand shook slightly. Age. Guilt. Consequence. 2 weeks later he returned. With a woman. His fiancée. Nervous. Hopeful. Kind face. He asked if we would make her wedding dress. He would understand if I refused. The request was audacious. Presumptuous. Also brave. Also honest. Also strangely right. I looked at Lila. She looked back. We had a silent conversation. Understanding passed. I said yes. We would make the dress. Beautiful dress. Our best work. Fresh start. Some endings chose to become beginnings. Some damage transmuted into grace. Sometimes, I measured the bride. Listened to her vision. Chose silk that moved like water. Like forgiveness. Claire designed it. I constructed it. Lila managed the details. Perfect collaboration. Perfect symbol. The dress was our masterpiece that season. Simple. Elegant. Radiant. Hopeful. Victor cried when he saw it. The bride glowed. They married in December. Small ceremony. Private. We attended. Briefly. Professionally. Witnesses to transformation. To possibility. To choice. Daniel sent a Christmas card. Generic. Impersonal. From somewhere in Florida. New job. New life. He did not ask to visit. Did not ask about the children. The card felt like obligation. I threw it away. The children never knew. Some ghosts were not worth summoning. Not worth keeping. The year ended with record profits. We paid bonuses. To staff. To ourselves. Earned money. Honest money. Lila and I sat in the shop after closing. New Year's Eve. Quiet. Reflecting. 5 years since the arrests. 4 years since the partnership. 3 years since the new location. We had built something. From wreckage. From betrayal. From refusal. From stubborn determination. The shop was ours. The success was ours. The future was ours. Unwritten. Unlimited. Unafraid. We toasted with cheap champagne. Laughed. Made plans. Dreamed bigger. Always bigger. The past had tried to finish us. Both of us. Different ways. Same intention. Instead we had finished it. Transformed it. Used it. Built on it. Transcended it. That was the victory. Not revenge. Not even justice. Just survival. Just thriving. Just this. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The late 70s brought color back. Not just in fashion. In everything. In us. 1978 started with expansion. We added ready-to-wear. Small line. Carefully curated. Day dresses. Blouses. Skirts. Simple pieces. Well-constructed. Affordable. Accessible to more women. Claire designed most of them. She was 16 now. Her eye was remarkable. Unerring. She understood what women needed. Not wanted. Needed. Clothes for living. For moving. For working. Her sketches filled notebooks. Ideas spilled faster than we could produce them. Abundance. Energy. Youth. I taught her restraint. Edit. Refine. Perfect one thing before starting 10 others. Discipline mattered. She chafed sometimes. Wanted everything now. Wanted recognition. Wanted her name everywhere. Immediately. I understood. I had been patient too long. Invisible too long. Silent too long. Different struggle. But I knew speed bred mistakes. Haste meant sloppiness. Quality took time. Always. No shortcuts. We compromised. Released 4 pieces per season. Each one perfect. Each one signature. Each one hers. The clothes sold faster than we anticipated. Women loved them. Bought multiples. Different colors. Waiting lists formed. A magazine photographed one of Claire's dresses. Called it effortlessly luminous. Elegant. Modern. Fresh. We framed the article. Hung it in the shop. Customers pointed. Asked for that dress. That designer. That look. Claire's confidence grew. Not arrogance. Assurance. She knew her worth. Her talent. Her voice. Finally visible. Jonah graduated high school in June. Top of his class. Scholarships. Offers. Options. Choices I never had. He chose engineering. State University. Full ride. Practical. Stable. A future built on numbers. On certainty. I was proud. Relieved. Terrified. My son was leaving. Becoming. Growing beyond me. Beyond us. The night before he left we had dinner. All of us. The strange family we had become. Lila cooked. I made dessert. Peter set the table. Claire complained about everything. Normal. Perfect. Ours. Jonah thanked me quietly. For everything. For surviving. For building this. For showing him strength looked like. I told him strength was just stubbornness. Refusal to quit. Nothing noble. Just necessary. Just breathing. He said that was enough. More than enough. He would carry it. Use it. Remember it. Always. The next morning he left. 1 suitcase. Thrifted ties. My father's watch. Ready. Unafraid. Mine. The shop felt emptier. Quieter. But also proud. We had launched him. Done our job. Let him fly. Peter was 8 now. Smart. Quick. Good with customers. He remembered names. Preferences. Details. He did homework at the cutting table. Read order forms like textbooks. Absorbed the business. Naturally. Easily. Claire started design school that fall. Part-time. Evening classes. She worked days. Studied nights. Relentless. She challenged my techniques. Questioned my methods. Pushed for modern approaches. New construction. Innovation. I resisted at first. My way worked. Proven. Reliable. Safe. Why change what succeeds? She said fashion moved. Culture moved. Women moved. We had to move too. Or become irrelevant. Forgotten. She was right. Difficult truth. The world was changing. We could change with it. Or disappear. Simple math. We started incorporating her ideas. Slowly. Carefully. Testing. Adjusting. Learning together. Mother and daughter. Teacher and student. The synthesis was magic. My craftsmanship. Her vision, traditional quality, modern aesthetic, perfect fusion, new identity. Business doubled, then tripled. We hired more staff. 8 seamstresses now, 2 cutters, 1 finisher. Real operation. Lila managed everything: payroll, taxes, inventory, vendors, insurance, the invisible architecture, the necessary foundation. She was 31 now. Confident, capable, no longer the scared girl, the abandoned mistress, the desperate mother. She was a businesswoman, a partner, a force, someone who made things happen, made things work, made things grow. We never talked about Daniel, never mentioned the past, never acknowledged the strangeness, the impossibility, the miracle. We just worked, built, survived, thrived. That was our language, our bond, our choice, our revenge. Spring brought a corporate offer. A department store chain wanted to carry our line. 20 locations, regional distribution. The money was substantial. The exposure was invaluable. The risk was losing control, losing identity, losing ourselves. Lila wanted to accept growth opportunity, financial security, validation, recognition, everything we had worked toward. Claire wanted to refuse artistic integrity, creative control, independence, our name, our terms, our way. I was torn. Both were right. Both were wrong. Both paths led somewhere. Different destinations. Unknown outcomes. We argued. Rare for us. Usually we aligned. Found consensus. Moved together. This time we fractured. Temporarily. The debate lasted weeks. Numbers versus vision. Security versus freedom. Pragmatism versus passion. No easy answer. Finally I called a vote. Democratic. Fair. 3 partners. 3 voices. 3 futures. 1 choice. Lila voted yes. Claire voted no. They looked at me, waiting. My decision. My responsibility. My burden. I voted no. Explained carefully. Calmly. Rationally. We had built something rare. Something ours. Something true. Selling to corporations meant committees. Compromises. Dilution. Losing the soul. Losing the story. Losing the point. We had survived by refusing to disappear. By insisting on our own terms. Our own names. Our own way. That was our value. Our differentiator. Our brand. Not fashion. Not clothes. Not even quality. Refusal. Persistence. Authenticity. We would stay independent. Stay small enough to control. Large enough to matter. Perfect enough to last. Lila accepted the decision. Disappointed but understanding. She trusted the partnership. Trusted the vision. Trusted me. Claire was relieved. She said staying true mattered more than getting big. Quality over quantity. Always. Forever. The store chain moved on. Found someone else. Diluted. Homogenized. Disappeared within 3 years. We noticed. Said nothing. Knew. Summer brought heat. Business. Weddings. Graduations. Life events. We dressed them all. Witnessed them all. Became part of them all. Our clothes carried stories. Celebrations. Transformations. Women walked into rooms wearing our work. Wearing our belief. Wearing themselves. That was the point. Not fashion. Not trends. Not even beauty. Helping women stand inside their truest selves. Visible. Valued. Seen. We became known for that. The Hart and Monroe difference. Clothes that honored. That empowered. That witnessed. That remembered. Jonah came home for Christmas. Taller. Broader. Confident. He talked about bridges. Physics. engineering problems, solutions, passion. He had found his calling, his purpose, his way, different from mine, equally valid, equally strong, equally heart. Peter worshipped him, followed him everywhere, asked questions, listened carefully, learning, growing, becoming his own person, his own way. Claire showed Jonah her portfolio, her designs, her vision. He studied each piece, seriously, thoughtfully, appreciatively. He said she was building bridges too. Different kind, between who women were, who they wanted to be, where fashion met life. She cried, rare for Claire, but Jonah understood, saw her, valued her, brother to sister, truth to truth, heart to heart. The year ended quietly, profits strong, staff stable, reputation solid, future bright, present enough, past distant. Finally, mostly, Lila and I sat in the office. New Year's Eve, champagne, tradition now, annual ritual, taking stock, making plans, dreaming forward. 9 years since the arrests. 8 years since the partnership. 7 years since the new location. 6 years since the first magazine feature. We had built an empire. Small empire, but ours. From nothing, from wreckage, from refusal, from stubborn persistence, from each other. The children were becoming, Jonah in college, Claire in design school, Peter in elementary, all thriving, all becoming, all ours. We toasted the year, the decade, the journey, the partnership, the impossible family, the miraculous survival, the daily victory. Lila said she never imagined this. This life, this success, this peace, this belonging, this home. I said I never imagined her, us, this, any of it, but here we were, still standing, still building, still refusing to disappear, to fail, to break, to be less, to accept less, to expect less, to become less. That was our legacy, not clothes, not business, not even success. Refusal, persistence, transformation, possibility, choice, power, the power to rebuild, to reimagine, to refuse the story others wrote, to write our own, stitch by stitch, day by day. The clock struck midnight. The new year arrived. 1979. A decade ending. Another beginning. Always beginning. Never finished. We raised our glasses, clinked them gently, smiled, tired, proud, grateful, alive, together. Enough. Outside the city sparkled. Inside the shop glowed. Our space, our creation, our proof, our answer, our life. The past was distant now. Faded, soft, manageable, almost forgiven, almost forgotten, almost irrelevant, almost, but not quite, never quite. Memory was the foundation, the fuel, the lesson, the gift, the curse, the truth. We carried it, used it, learned from it, built on it, transcended it, never escaped it, never needed to. That was the real story. Not survival, transformation, not recovery, creation, not forgetting, choosing, again, daily, always, forward. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Time carried us forward. The 80s arrived, then the 90s. Years blurred together pleasantly. The shop became an institution. 3 decades of women, 3 decades of transformations, 3 decades of refusing to disappear. Daniel died in 1996. A phone call, brief, factual, heart attack, Florida, 62 years old. The news felt distant, like hearing about a stranger. Someone I once knew, barely, long ago. We attended the funeral. For the children. Not for him. Not for us. For closure. For completion. The service was small. Generic. A life summarized in platitudes. No mention of theft. Of betrayal. Of wreckage. Just a man. A father. A name. Empty words. Hollow tribute. Insufficient eulogy. But sufficient ending. Jonah stood straight. Stoic. His jaw tight. His eyes dry. He had made his peace. Years ago. Differently. Claire cried quietly. Not for who he was. For who he was not. For what never happened. For the absence. Peter looked confused. This stranger was his father. Biologically. Legally. But not really. Not in any way that mattered. We drove home in silence. The past officially closed. The ghost finally laid. The story finally finished. Almost. The shop outlived Daniel. Outlived the scandal. Outlived the gossip. Outlived everyone's expectations. Including ours. We moved locations twice more. Each time larger. Each time better. Each time more permanent. More established. More ours. Hart and Monroe became a name people recognized. Trusted. Sought. Associated with quality. With integrity. With transformation. We trained apprentices. Young women. Eager. Talented. Hungry. We taught them craft. Business. Resilience. Everything we had learned. Some stayed. Some left. All carried something forward. A stitch. A lesson. A belief. A possibility. A refusal. Claire ran the creative division by 2000. She was 38. Brilliant. Demanding. Visionary. Uncompromising. Hart through and through. Her designs won awards. Got featured. Got copied. Got celebrated. She handled it all. Grace and steel. Perfectly balanced. Peter managed operations. 31 years old. Detail-oriented. Strategic. Fair. He had grown up in this business. This family. This strange miracle. He understood the books. The margins. The overhead. The reality. Numbers never lied. Never betrayed. Never disappointed. Reliable. True. Jonah built bridges. Literally. All over the country. Famous ones. Important ones. Bridges that held. That lasted. That mattered. He visited twice a year. Always brought blueprints. Always explained stress points. Load calculations. Engineering poetry. Heart precision applied differently. We were proud. All 3 children. Thriving. Successful. Good humans. Despite everything. Because of everything. Transformed. Whole. Lila and I grew old together. Silver-haired. Stubborn. Still working. Still arguing. Still partners. Still friends. Still family. We sat at Sunday dinners. 4 generations now. Grandchildren arguing about dessert. Chaos. Laughter. Noise. Life. Abundance. Blessing. The young ones did not know the full story. Not yet. Maybe never. Maybe that was mercy. Maybe wisdom. They knew we were strong. That we had built something. That we had survived something. That was enough. For now. I am 78 as I tell this. Silver hair. Steady hands. Sharp mind. Still stitching. Still here. Still refusing. The shop runs without me now mostly. Claire leads. Peter manages. I consult. Advise. Witness. Bless. Let go. Slowly. Letting go is harder than holding on. Control was survival. Release feels dangerous. Feels like weakness. Feels like ending. But it is not. It is trust. It is legacy. It is continuation. The work continues. Different hands. same heart, same refusal. I keep the Bible in my desk drawer. The note still inside, pressed flat, preserved, protected, evidence, proof, memory, not of the threat, of the pivot, of the moment everything changed. The sentence that was supposed to erase me. If she gets close to it. Finish her. 7 words. Intended as ending. Became beginning instead. Became fuel. Became foundation. I read it sometimes. On hard days. On doubt days. On tired days. When the past feels too heavy. Too present. The words remind me. I was supposed to disappear. Supposed to be finished. Erased. Forgotten. Irrelevant. Gone. Instead I am here. Still standing. Still building. Still visible. Still mattering. Still refusing. Still alive. Stubbornly. Gloriously. Completely. The lesson I hand down is simple. Simpler than people expect. More brutal. More honest. More true. When the world writes you off. When someone decides you are expendable. Inconvenient. In the way. Disposable. Do not accept it. Do not believe it. Do not internalize it. Do not disappear. Do not finish yourself. Write yourself longer. Write yourself bigger. Write yourself into existence. Again. Daily. Persistently. Stubbornly. Defiantly. Completely. Stitch your story into your bones. Into your work. Into your legacy. Make yourself undeniable. Unforgettable. Essential. Present. That is power. Real power. Not revenge. Not even justice. Just refusal. Persistence. Existence. Continuation. Transformation. Choice. The children understand this. In their bones. In their work. In their lives. They build. They create. They refuse. They persist. Jonah's bridges hold. Claire's designs transform. Peter's numbers tell truth. All of them building. All of them refusing. All of them heart. Lila understands too. Differently. Same lesson. Different path. Same destination. Same survival. Same transformation. Same power. Same choice. We built something impossible. Wife and mistress. Betrayed women. Abandoned mothers. Supposed victims. Supposed footnotes. Supposed endings. Instead we became partners. Businesswomen. Mothers. Friends. Survivors. Builders. Creators. Stories. Legends. Testaments. Proofs. Possibilities. Truths. The shop stands on Merchant Street. Solid. Established. Thriving. 3 generations later. Still Hart and Monroe. Still ours. Still standing. Inside women still come. Still transform. Still leave wearing themselves. Visible. Valued. Witnessed. Honored. Seen. Believed. Possible. That is the work. Not fashion. Not business. Not even survival. Witnessing. Honoring. Enabling. Empowering. Believing. Seeing. Choosing. Choosing to see women as whole. As capable. As worthy. As essential. As powerful. As present. As possible. Always possible. The note sits in its plastic sleeve. Faded ink. Old paper. Ancient threat. Powerless now. Transformed. Transmuted. Proof of opposite. Not what they intended. What I chose. What we chose. What we built. What we became. What we made possible. For ourselves first. Then our children. Then our clients. Then the women who come. Who leave. Who transform. Who refuse. The refusal ripples outward. Generation to generation. Woman to woman. Story to story. Choice to choice. Life to life. That is legacy. Not money. Not success. Not even the shop. The permission. The model. the proof, the possibility, the refusal. I sit at my sunlit table. Pincushion on my wrist. Old habit. Comforting weight. Familiar presence. Still mine. Around me grandchildren argue. Claire sketches. Peter calculates. Lila laughs. Life continues. Chaotic. Abundant. Loud. Perfect. Ours. The past is present. Not haunting. Just informing. Just shaping. Just reminding. Just witnessing. Just there. Manageable. Useful. Transformed. The future is unwritten. Open. Possible. Continuing. Building. Growing. Theirs now. Not mine. Not entirely. But theirs. Mostly. Finally. I am tired. Satisfied. Complete. Not finished. Never finished. But complete. Whole. Present. Visible. Undeniable. Here. Still here. Always here. The threat was finish her. The reality is still standing. Still stitching. Still witnessing. Still refusing. Still here. Still mattering. Still teaching. The sentence meant to erase me became the line I stepped across. Into larger life. Into bigger story. Into fuller self. Into real power. That is the lesson. The gift. The truth. The legacy. The story. The refusal. The choice. The power. The possibility. The life. When they write you off in 7 words. Write yourself a chapter longer. Then another. Then another. Until the story is yours. Stitch it to your bones. Wear it proudly. Walk out the door. Into the world. Into your life. Into your power. Into yourself. That is what I did. What we did. What our children do. What women still do. Daily. Persistently. Courageously. Necessarily. The work continues. The refusal persists. The transformation ripples. The story grows. The legacy lives. The power transfers. Generation to generation. And I sit here, 78, silver-haired, steady-handed, clear-minded, grateful, complete, whole, present, alive, still here, still refusing, still stitching my story, still wearing my power, still walking through doors, still mattering, still teaching, still witnessing, still choosing, still here, always here, undeniably here, powerfully here, completely here, forever here, in every stitch, every story, every choice, every woman, every refusal,